work. I wanted to ask you, in a follow-up to what Senator Portman framed in terms of the concerns about the fiscal outlook of this country and where we are, obviously with over $15 trillion in debt, rising health care costs, a situation where if you're relying on entitlements like Medicare, trustees have said that will go bankrupt in 2024, and then looking farther out, Social Security in 2036. What is it, when you think about the fiscal state of this country and your responsibilities as the chairman of the Reserve, that keeps you up at night?
Well, I've tried to stay away from individual programs and taxes, but I feel it is within my remit to talk to Congress about the overall fiscal situation. And I think it's very clear, and I'm sure Doug Elmendorf made a very clear presentation, that on current reasonable expectations about policy, that the U.S. federal deficit will become unsustainable within 15 or 20 years at the most, and possibly some of those effects will be even brought forward by markets, for example. So we clearly need some major changes in our fiscal planning, in our fiscal path going forward. And these are concerns, I would want to emphasize, these are concerns which are not just about our children 20 years from now, but they could have effects much sooner if markets began to lose confidence in our nation's ability to stabilize our debt burden.
And in follow-up to what Senator Portman said, do you believe that here in the Congress we need a greater urgency in addressing these issues, these structural issues?
Certainly you do. In fairness to the hardworking people here, I would say that there's still a lot of there's a lack of clarity to some extent among the general public. I think people have conflicting views about what they want, and everyone wants a lower deficit, but nobody wants to lose their own program or their own tax cut. So it is difficult, I understand. But absolutely, I think we would all benefit from action to credibly and strongly articulate a plan that would bring our fiscal situation into sustainability over the next couple of decades.
And does that need to happen immediately in the next year or two?
As soon as possible, certainly.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to follow up on questions that Senator Toomey had asked you about some of the risks that we see with our monetary policy right now. And 2 days ago, Charles Schwab wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that piece. But one of his, in addition to the issue that you already addressed to Senator Toomey, which was the issue of the risk of keeping interest rates low with respect to savers, he also noted that there's also a concern that he described it this way: we've also seen a destructive run of capital out of Europe and into safe U.S. assets such as Treasury bonds, reflecting a worldwide aversion to risk, and new business formation is at a record low. There is also insufficient confidence among business people and consumers to spark investment and growth boom. In short, he says, the Fed's actions, rather than helping, are having a perverse effect of destroying the confidence of businesses and individuals to invest, and the willingness of banks to loan to anyone but those whose credit is so strong they don't need the loans. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, no, I disagree with that completely. I think, first of all, one of the goals of our asset purchase program is to take safe treasuries out of circulation and push investors into situations which are appropriately risky, that is, making loans, buying corporate debt, and taking actions, hiring, investing that will expand the economy. So obviously beyond a certain point, you don't want to create excessive risk, but going from a situation where people are very hunkered down to a slightly riskier position is positive for the economy. Moreover, when banks and others are making decisions about whether to lend or not, they have to ask, what's the alternative? The alternative now is very low-yielding Treasury securities. So with making only 2% on a 10-year Treasury, that's a very low bar for making a 10-year loan to a new business, and that encourages lending rather than discourages lending. So I think that our policy is strengthening the economy, and that reduces uncertainty and increases the willingness of firms to hire and invest.
Thank you. I know that my time is up. I would also see the risk as well in terms of the booming of interest rates to our debt and having to address that issue right away. Thank you.